I'm hoping we've got sound. So if you're on and I have no sound, please let me know. I've been testing the mic. So I think we've got sound. We had a bit of sound issues last week, but yeah, I think we're sorted. Anyway, hello, good morning, welcome or welcome back to Crumbs and Corkscrews, whether you're joining on the Facebook channel or the YouTube channel. It's lovely to see you here. If you don't already know me, I'm Lou. I'm the dessert obsessed baker, and every week here from my kitchen in the Cotswolds, I'm going to share with you one of my deliciously easy dessert recipes. Doesn't matter if you're a total beginner in the kitchen, or you're just starting out on your baking and dessert journey, or you're hitting Star Baker every week. If you're watching Great British Bake Off, there will be something here for you. Something new, something different, something quick, something easy. But the whole thing about these recipes are they are delicious and they're easy to make. So as usual, just have a moment just to get in and get settled. I hope you've got a cup of tea and you've still got your jammies on, because it's not nice out there this morning. I thought, oh, it's going to be a lovely day, but it's grey and drizzly and yucky. So yeah, curl up on the sofa with a cup of tea, your pajamas for the next hour, because we're going to be doing some Halloween treats this week. And these are no bake ones, and hopefully we'll be doing two of them. Good morning, Gina. I'm hoping I've tested this mic. I think last week I had it in the wrong port on the camera. We won't talk about that. But I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we've got some sound today. If I disappear or any sound isn't working, please just give me a nudge in the comments. Perfect sound. Yes. See, it was me last week. I put the microphone receiver in the wrong thing on the camera. Oh dear. Anyway, let's get going, because we've got hopefully two treats for you today. They're really quick and easy, so I do want to get through two of them, fingers crossed. And actually, today we're going to take a few little shortcuts for one of them as well, but shh, don't tell anyone. Right, let's get in then for our recipe. This guy is the pumpkin pinata cake that we made last year. So he's all up on the blog now in the full video with all the step-by-steps that we went through, and everything's over on the blog, so you can find him there. But we are going to be making some pumpkins. Now, these were inspired by my Rice Krispie Christmas puddings that you guys absolutely love. They've started to go mad already. But also one of my lovely new colleagues over in the US, Jacqueline, made these with her kiddos the other week. And she made them as pumpkins and little zombies and little Draculas and vampires. So we're going to be doing them today as Rice Krispie pumpkins. I'm so excited for those. And they are super, super simple. And we'll be doing those first. Then we're going to be making some Halloween Geo hearts, which sounds a bit weird, but yep, don't worry. Louise has got a new toy. Actually, no, Louise has got silicone molds and has been making things like cake pops, and they call them cakesicles. And actually, I've been trying to make those hot chocolate bombs. Now, Gina, I know you asked for those last Christmas, so I think we might be there for this Christmas. So we have a new mold, but we're going to make little like mummy cake hearts. I don't know what they are, encased in chocolate with a little bit of a jam filling. And so we'll be doing those second, but they are all no bake, and they are really great fun to do with the kids if you're going into half-term holidays next week or the week after. So we're going to start with our Rice Krispie pumpkins. These are the ones that sort of probably need the most things done to them, although there's still not a lot to do. So in terms of ingredients then, we've got some really simple stuff. We're going to be using Rice Krispies, of course. Here I'm doing a half recipe The ingredients list here is for the full recipe, but we're only going to do half today. So I've got Rice Krispies. This is 50 grams, but you can use 100 grams. It's really easy to double up this recipe. You just literally double it up. So we've got some Rice Krispies. It doesn't have to be Rice Krispies. It can be store-owned. You could use Cocoa Pops if you wanted to. Make sure you've not got the end of the packet, you know, where it goes all powdery. If you are at the end of a packet of cereal, just sieve those out and then you'll be left with your normal Rice Krispies. We've then got our marshmallows. We're just using mini ones here. If you've got big ones, use those. Just chop them up with some scissors first. These are pink and white ones. If you can get all white, perfect. Don't worry if the pink's not going to add anything really to it. So I've got 90 grams, but that's 180 grams of marshmallows. Now, chocolate-wise, I've gone off-piste because I was going to use the white chocolate, but I want to use all for those Geo heart zombie mummy things that we're going to do. So I'm just using caramel, which I thought might actually, I'm obsessed with this. Sometimes it's called blonde chocolate or caramelized white chocolate. I love it. So we're using caramel, well, it's old school Caramac. We only want a little bit of that. So this is 25 grams. If you're doing the full recipe, that's 50, but you can use regular white chocolate as well. A little bit of butter. Again, this is half the measure. So this is only 25 grams, but unsalted butter. It doesn't matter if it's at room temperature or not, because we're going to heat it and melt everything together. Then to colour our chocolate, we're going to be using a little bit of food colour gel. I've got a couple of others here, but we're going to be using orange. Obviously, it's a pumpkin. I must say, if you can get them, I'm not a fan of the taste, but you can use candy melts as well. And you can get orange ones. So you don't need to pre-colour, you don't need to colour your chocolate. But we've just had a Hobbycraft to open here in Cirencester this week, and it was absolutely chaos, so I didn't dare venture in. And I'm not a fan of the flavour. So, but if you want to and you don't want to faff around with the colours, you can use candy melts instead. And then for our final little bits of decoration, we've got some coloured sugar paste. I've got some green for some leaves, some brown for some stalks, and some white and black later for the eyes of our cake pops. So they are there and ready to go. Equipment wise, ever so simple. You're going to need a mixing bowl, a rubber spatula, some greaseproof paper, and a saucepan, and your hands. That's the main thing. So because we want to crack through too, I'm not going to talk about the hearts until we get there. Let's get cracking then with our Rice Krispie pumpkins. I nearly said Christmas puddings. It's because I've been looking at them. And actually for the Rice Krispie puddings, I have shot a video which is now up on the YouTube channel. Just going to plug the hob in. There we go. I have shot a video. It's only a quick one, 4 minute video of how to make the Christmas puddings, which should be the same technique as we're doing here. So then the first thing we want to do before we get our bowl is get a saucepan. Now, you can do this in the microwave, but I find if you don't keep an eye on it, your marshmallows puff up with all the air and then it just becomes a horrible sticky mess in there, and I can't be doing with that. So we're going to do this in a saucepan, and into here then we're going to add our butter. This is so simple. Our chocolate, there it is, and our marshmallows, and they just go in and then onto don't want it too hot because you don't want to be burning the bottom or catching. Let that start to melt on its own first. Don't start stirring it because it will get really sticky. But what you'll want to get hold of for when you're ready to start stirring is a rubber spatula. And a rubber one is better than a wooden one because it's going to allow you to scrape and you've got that stickiness. A wooden spatula just makes an utter mess. So a rubber spatula is perfect. So whilst that's heating then, we're going to add, this is how simple it is. We're going to add our Rice Krispies into a big bowl. Now, you can do this if you want. Melt everything in a really large saucepan and then add your Rice Krispies into that. Because I've got this induction hob and we don't have a lot of induction saucepans, I'm using a medium saucepan. So I'm going to pour that into here and then you can see what I'm doing as well. Let's get rid of these bowls. And this is as simple as it comes. Actually, I'm going to keep one aside for our sticky spatula. The other thing you're going to need then for this is a baking tray with some grease-proof paper on, because we're going to pop these in the fridge to chill, and that's just going to spring up everywhere, isn't it? So I'm just going to pop that on there for the moment so it doesn't. And that will we'll just pop them on there and it will be, they'll go in the fridge. It means obviously you can peel it. They are going to get sticky. So I can see just from looking that butter has started to melt now. The chocolate is as well, and the butter will go first, and then the chocolate, and then the marshmallows, and the heat from that will just melt everything together. When you start, you think, okay, I've got a lot of marshmallows there, and then when you cook it down like this, you go, why is it all gone? But don't panic. A little goes a long way here. And the other reason I like doing this on the hob is I just got total control of that marshmallow. And I'm not giving it a stir, I'm just sort of folding it over into itself so the heat that it's accumulating can sort of come through. Now, with the Christmas puddings we use, instead of the white chocolate or the caramel milk, I use just regular chocolate as well. But like I say, you can use Cocoa Pops if you want instead. Obviously with this, we're going to colour this orange in a moment. But so you wouldn't get the same. So this is how quick it is. If you're doing this with the kids, if they're older ones, you know, obviously keep an eye on them. But you can, it's quick. And we don't want to boil this. We don't want to boil our sugar out because it will just become really sticky and horrible. Right, the marshmallows are almost melted, but as you can see now, I'll show you, it's just like this runny gloopiness. Yes, the hob tells me when I've taken it off. So that's that. That's how easy that is. I'm going to pop now a little bit of our food colour in before we add into the here. Now, I use food colour gels. I use this and I talk to you loads about them because they are really concentrated. So I'm just using a little drop there. I'm going to see what colour that gives me first. They're really concentrated, and unlike sort of the liquid food colours you can get, or the old school food colours where you'd be adding a liquid, I'm just going to add a touch more. You'd be adding a liquid into your mixture, which would then make it really more runny. The food gels are just, they're so concentrated, they're not going to add anything extra to it. And you can get them now. You can get them now in the supermarkets. You can get them from the Great A in the Sky that brings us stuff next day. All sorts. I must admit, I needed a new car wiper blade and it's arrived. So as you can see, I've coloured that now orange. And it's all nice and runny. So with here, it doesn't always work because Rice Krispies have a mind of their own, but I'm just going to push them back a bit and then pour that straight in. I can't believe it's like over midway through October now. We had our wedding anniversary the other day, which is always is the 14th of October. So that's a key indicator. And then it's my mother-in-law's birthday on the following day. So we've got them coming around for lunch today. And then it's my birthday tomorrow. And just October seems to fly by. And next thing you know, it's countdown. And I was actually planning, we won't be here for the next 2 weeks. So when we come back in November, we will be going into Christmas stuff. And I was planning things last night. I'm so excited. So excited this year. After last year, I'm so excited. So, right, I've poured that all in. And now I'm mixing this all together. And as you can see, we've got it all start to get, I'm doing this bit with a metal spoon just so it helps me scrape the marshmallow off the side of the bowl. And look how orange that is. I mean, that's just from that little bit of food colour. Oh, happy birthday. Thank you, Gina. So as you can see, we've got some nice orange Rice Krispies. Now, these are still a little bit warm for the moment. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let them cool for a moment whilst we just move some things. Now, what I do suggest is if you are doing this in a saucepan or whatever, get that in the water straight away in some hot soapy water because it will get really sticky and horrible. So just as that cools, just going to move that across. So if there is anything, I've got a list of Christmas stuff. If there is anything that you fancy, please let me know. I've got your chocolate bombs on here, Gina, but we've got like a Christmas pavlova with a wreath with lots of nice, lovely fruit and everything. There's got to be a cheesecake in there somewhere. We've got a Christmas pudding cheesecake. We've got Christmas tree mousses, which is also silicone molding time, or you don't have to, but we're going to try it. We've got some shortbread, we've got some brownies, there's lots of gingerbread, and I'm desperate. I was looking yesterday, I saw this Kit Kat gingerbread house. So it's not a gingerbread house, it's made out of Kit Kat, and I thought I'm going to try that with the nephews, and then if it's any good, I love a Kit Kat. We'll give it a go as something to do, but we will probably be going to something coffee, of course. I have a coffee dessert sort of cappuccino-y thing going on. I haven't got it necessarily on because I need to do some trials with it. But yeah, we can probably do something with coffee. Again, I'm going to get the coffee cake recipe back up as well with the reindeer that we did last year. So this is nicely, it's not completely cool because if it's completely cool, we're going to have a problem getting it into our balls. But we are ready to go. And oops, these are curly pieces of paper today. So there's two, if you go in now with this, you are just going to stick to this like there's nobody's business. So wet your hands. Give them a rinse. Some people oil them, but I'm not a fan, or use cake spray, but just dampen your hands. Actually, that's quite a lot. And then all we're going to do is take our spoon. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but we're going to grab that and roll. And because your hands are damp, it will stop them sticking so much. But just do that and into our little ball. and then place it on our parchment paper. The great thing about these as well is if you use it, double check that your Rice Krispies are gluten-free, and you can get gluten-free, definitely gluten-free alternatives, but you can make this gluten-free. Obviously, it's not vegetarian. If it depends on what gelatin is used in your marshmallows, but you can make these gluten-free really easily. Stuff. So taking a spoonful. Now this, like I say, is a half batch. And you'll get quite a few out of this already. You could make these green if you wanted to, make them little Frankenstein monsters. You could have them white for mummies. Oh, see now this is when it's sticky. Yeah, come on. When you start getting into the middle of the mixture, it's still a little bit warm in there. Doesn't roll as easily. There it goes. And they're going to chill in the fridge, so that's not a great one. Take it from around the sides to start with. I don't need all of that. This is why it's a good one for the kids, because they can do the messy bit and you just let them get sticky and then point them in the direction of the sink. So we're gonna that one that I just did before this one just looks really sad. I think out of a half batch you might get 10, 12. We've got, this will be the 6th one. And then we're going to pop them in the fridge to chill. And we'll just oh dear. Oh, you can't really see it because my name's on the thing there. There we go. Is that better? You can see them there. Now you can see why I say dampen your hands, because you get all this stickiness. They are good fun to make though. And as you roll it, just sort of give it a little bit of a press, because it will help everything stick together. Like, oh, I've got some weird orange Rice Krispie thing going on. Oh, this thing's going to go on. It's 30 minutes in a minute, isn't it? Whilst I've got my hands covered, I'm going to have to press the button with my nose or something. Now, when I do this, I recommend you don't make them much more than about an inch in size, because they will, as they set with that chocolate, they will get hard in the... This one's a bit squidgy. Hello, welcome to Kitchen Mess for Halloween with Louise, if you're just joining us. Oh, I'm just going to pick it up now out the bottom. I know that thing's going to go in about 3 minutes. I'm going to be covered in Rice Krispies and marshmallow. So the first few were fine. We'd start getting into it. And right. What's that? Let's get one more out, and then Might just be a little one. We can get this bowl. I'll definitely be getting the kids to do this. I'd put your comment up, but as you can see, my hands are maybe slightly not in the best position to touch my laptop. Sometimes it can be sticky, other times it's not too bad. If you find it is really sticky, add another sort of thing of Rice Krispies in. A little bit of hot water. I'm conscious that that's going to turn in a minute and we're going to be... My sink washing up. There we go. Let's get rid of that. Let's just pop that to one side. I've got a couple there that have, just one or two that have started to go. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've got 11 out of that. And I'll probably put another one in the sink because I just washed my hands. But now these are ready to go in the fridge. When we make the decorations, we're going to secure them with a little bit of chocolate, which will be melting for the hearts. So I'm going to pop these in the fridge and get ready to press the button at our 30 minutes, and then we'll be back to finish these off. So we'll get ready to press the button in a minute because I'm sure I think it's about 30 minutes and then it goes over. Let's just get what we need for the next bit. And this is our second no bake Halloween treat. And this one has a few shortcuts, but please don't tell anyone. So this is what we're going to be using. We're going to be using they call them Geo hearts. I actually ordered a mold for some sort of spirals for one of the Christmas and this came with it free, and because I ordered some, like, they call them cakesicles as well, which worked, but they were not quite Halloweeny enough. But I thought I could do these. We could make them into little heart-shaped pumpkins, or you could make them into little mummies. And this has got 6 in here. So this is what we're doing next. So while our pumpkins chill out, let's talk about our Halloween Geo hearts. And yeah, Halloween can be nice and cute as well. I am not a fan of scary Halloween. I am not a fan at all. We went to Disney for my 30th many years ago and went to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party rather than the horror nights over at Universal with all them horrible things. So I do cute Halloween. Anyway, for our Geo hearts then, we're going to be making some shortcuts, and we're going to be using some pre-bought ingredients. But you can, by all means, if you've got a cake or you've got offcuts or you've kept some cake in the freezer or some cupcakes and some frosting, by all means, you can use this. I was sent a few things to try out by some companies, and so which I've been using, and I've got some things left over to use. So that's what we're doing here. So for your cake hearts, you're going to need, so we're going to be using vanilla cake. This is just a store-bought vanilla cake, which I've chopped up. It's about 150 grams here. You might need a little less, always good to have a little bit more. So you've got that. We're going to be using some buttercream frosting. Again, if you've got some left over, I've used all mine up, but we have some store-bought ones. This is just a vanilla one that was sent, and you can also use a chocolate fudge one if you want to as well. Haven't decided which one. I think we're going to use the vanilla for this. So you only want a couple of tablespoons of that. So if you've got something left over, use those up. Don't make a batch of buttercream just for these. And then from there, we're going to hopefully fill these with a little bit of strawberry jam. So we've got a little bit of just regular strawberry jam there. These are coated and encased in this white chocolate shell. So we've got 2 lots of chocolate because we need to melt 2 lots at different times slightly. So it's 250 grams of white chocolate altogether. We're going to be melting, this is 150 grams in here, and that's going to be for the outers, and then we're going to melt a separate amount for the tops. Rather than melt it, reheat it, melt it, reheat it, I'm just going to do it in 2 separate batches there. So we've got those, and then again, some food color gel if you want to color your chocolate. We're going to be making like little mummies, we're not going to color this time. And also, if you've got any decorations, like you can get little googly eyes and little sprinkles and things like that. I'm going to be making those out of the sugar paste, but if you've got sugar paste, you can use that by all means. Equipment wise, again, very simple. We're going to be using our hands, but you're going to need a mixing bowl to put all your cake and everything in, rubber spatulas to mix it all through, some greaseproof paper. You're going to need your mold. Now, you can get Halloween ones as well. You don't have to do this as hearts. These are about 2 and a bit inches, about 5 centimeters in diameter, and about couple of centimeter or so in depth. There, piping bag if you want to pipe any chocolate over the top, which we might do to get a little bit of a bandage effect. And everybody knows my favorite piece of equipment in the kitchen, an angled spatula, because that's going to help us smooth over really nicely over the tops there. So these do also need to take some time in the fridge to set, chill, etc. You can speed things up in the freezer, which we might be doing. So whilst our pumpkins chill, let's get in for round 2. Can't believe we're doing 2 recipes this morning. First up then, I'm going to get our chocolate on to melt. Now I'm not, let's go back to the main. I'm not going to do this in the microwave again. I'm also not going to do it on the induction hob because I don't want to knock this. So I'm going to do it on the main hob, but we're just going to melt the chocolate over a pan of simmering water, so a double boiler. Just because it will make the chocolate will sort of, it'll be slightly better for the chocolate. You can, of course, do this in the microwave, but I'm just going to let that do its thing. Now, you can temper the chocolate properly if you want to, and using your thermometer and taking them up to temperature and then cooling them back down again and then using it at that point. For this, you don't need to necessarily temper your chocolate. Yes, it will give you smoother, shinier crack, but actually we want this to be nice and easy. So we just want that melted, but where it's properly melted and it's all nice and silky and glossy. So hence doing it on the hob gives me that little bit more control than the microwave. So actually, no, I don't need that. I don't need it. I was going to get a baking tray, but I'm going to pop these in the freezer. So I've got a flat tray in the freezer already. So with your cake then, this is just your vanilla cake. Cut it up, tear it up into pieces, however it is. And then we're just going to, a bit like when we're making a cheesecake or a rubbing in pastry, we're just going to take this down to a fine crumb. But don't rub it together, because if you start rubbing it together, your cake will start to clump, especially if it's lovely and moist. It is slightly better with day-old cake, I would say, rather than fresh cake. Just helps with this crumbling mixture. Now, if you want to, you can use store-bought cake, you know, the Madeira slices and like angel cake and things like that. Those sort of things make, especially if you're doing it, the little ones, make great alternatives here. And things. So we'll just, I can hear the hob going, and I'm just I don't want any big lumps of cake. Big lumps of cake will just sort of, when we put them into the heart mold, it won't, it'll just be too much, because we will squidge this down a bit together. When we put it in, we're going to leave a little bit of, we'll make a little bit of a well and put a little bit of strawberry jam. Why are you saying this, Alfred Fox? Well, probably because you joined the live stream. Well done. And then, oh, don't you love it when you get a troll or a random just appear on a live stream? I know, Gina, you did during lockdown with yours. I don't know if you got any. I don't know if you got any randoms on yours. I mean, Alfred, if you like baking, please stick around. You know, it's great. It's great for my engagement on my channel. You know, if you've got anything else to say, let's hear it. As long as it's nice, we don't do horrible things. Plenty, Jim. Plenty. I know. I had one on a cheesecake one. I caught on the Neapolitan cheesecake. Apparently, there's like a manga character or something called Neapolitan, and somebody was going, "Why am I saying this? This is not what Neapolitan is." I was like, "Yes, it is. This is a Neapolitan cheesecake. Do your research." Oh, I think he's gone. Oh, did he not? He didn't like it. Oh, don't you just love them? Right, and he joined on Facebook. You normally get them, the people join like that on the old YouTube, because it puts it out as a broadcast. But oh well, he watched for a while and he commented, so that's all good for my engagement, for the algorithm. Let's take the bonus out of this. So, whilst we've been chatting about Alfred, because he didn't know why he's seeing this, I've crumbed my cake into fine crumbs, breadcrumbs almost, cake crumbs. Just going to check on my chocolate for the minute. So that started to melt. That's good. You know, he might have learned something. He might have learned how to make some geocakes. My transmitter for the wireless mic has fallen off my waistband. Oh dear. Right. When we've got our cake crumbs ready, then we're just gonna scroll down there. We're gonna add in our frosting. Like I say, you can use chocolate or you can use vanilla, you can use whatever if you've got some left over. I used all our leftover stuff when I was trying these out the other day. So, but you're going to want about 2 to 3 tablespoons. I'm using a teaspoon because, yes. So put that in. You don't want it too soggy, but you want enough to mix everything together. And it's a bit like when we're making pastry and getting all stuff combined. So give it a mix through first, and then we'll start to get it all rubbed in. So mix through to sort of break those big spoons of buttercream up. Now, I am not a fan, as you know, of store-bought stuff or especially pre-made frostings. But if you're doing with kids, it really is the quickest and simplest way. And this is the Co-op one, and it doesn't look. It's got milk. It's got lots of sugars and stuff in. These things because they have a shelf life, don't they? So I'm just gonna. I can hear the water. Actually, we don't want the water to boil. It's just a low simmer. And remember, when you're doing this over the hob, your bowl should not touch the water, because we don't want to catch that. We don't want to burn or seize our chocolate in there. So I don't have a bowl for this. Doesn't matter. Just while the chocolate's finishing off, I'm just gonna get that through a bit more with a bigger spoon now. And don't worry if it's not completely coated, because we're going to sort of squish it together. So you'll see it sort of coming into larger clumps. There we go. Okay. Right, let's pop that there, and then let's get our mould. And we're going to look at our chocolate as well here. Just going to just give it a quick stir. Remember, like I always say, you chocolate, take it to a point. Let's get the gloves. Take it to a point where it's almost melted, and the residual heat there. Remember, that will be very hot. The residual heat will. Let's put that one there. Will melt the last of that. There we go. It's nice and shiny. Oh, someone's back. Is that you, Alfred? Are you back? Right. Our chocolate now is ready. It's all nicely melted. And what we're going to do now is, there's no easy way to do this, folks. I'm sorry. But we're going to pour in our chocolate into our molds. I'm giving a good dollop into the bottom there of each one. Then with our spoon, just pull it up. And don't worry, we can add some more in, it's fine. But we want to get that, oops, first coat. Up the sides and in the bottom. Now I haven't found, because I'm still just learning these, an easier way to do this now. I rewatched Bake Off the Professionals where they do their chocolates, and there's plenty of ideas in there. I'm also hoping Ian has told my in-laws what time to come round, otherwise they'll be walking through the door in a minute. And you'll be having, it'll be a family affair today. And again, if you want to, if you're using gluten-free cake, you can make these relatively easily gluten-free as well. So my first one needs a little bit more. Chocolate in. And then what we're going to do, just pull the excess off. And then just finish it off. Just make sure when you've pulled it off that you've got no holes or anything. So I'm just going to quickly pop this in the freezer. And while that's in the freezer, we can finish these off. So I'm popping them in the freezer because it'd be quicker for me just to freeze that, but you guys can do it in the fridge. I completely forgot what that thing was that, you know, we put stuff in. So with these then, and because I'm going to need it for the for our hearts as well, I'm just going to put the remainder of this chocolate here into a piping bag. I haven't snipped the end of this off yet. Let's get all of that. I also filmed a video for next week for whilst I'm away that will go live for Gingerbread Rocky Road, which I love. So that will go up for you guys next week. I'm going to need that again for melting that other chocolate. So got quite a bit of chocolate left over in there. Got chocolate everywhere as well. So I'm just going to put the chocolate for our lids in there and just pop it over there for the moment. That doesn't need to. I have got chocolate everywhere. That doesn't need to be melted just yet. So for these guys then, most of them have turned out into fairly round shapes. You can just give them a squeeze if you think they're a bit flat. They're still quite pliable. The ones that didn't want to play the game, just gonna reform those there. This one here, this is why we're using grease proof, because it gets sticky and they stick down. Right, let's see, let's see if I can get this organized on this tray a bit better. And as usual, the first one looks the best. This one. Okey-doke. Right. So then we are going to make just a few little decorations then out of our sugar paste. I'm keeping an eye on the time for you guys as well. And you don't have to, you can use some sprinkles if you want to, but all I'm going to do is make some like little green leaves. It's a bit too much. And it might just stick on, but if you need to, you can use the white chocolate. And they are by no means a perfect match for a pumpkin, but if you give it a little roll out as well, just gently between your fingers, you can, you know how little pumpkins have the little twirly bits, and then a little bit of brown, you can make a stem. And if it's still sticky enough, you can use the melted chocolate just to hold everything on. So don't know if you can see that. I don't, if I bring it close, I don't know if it will. Oh, I don't think it will go in focus because it's on a focus. It's focused elsewhere. I thought I'd try. But we've got our little pumpkin with a little stem and our little green leaves and the little tendrils as well. And what I'll do is I'll finish those off later for the photographs. We won't go through and make them all now. But cute. I don't know if you could see it because, you know, Gina, I stuck it in front and the focus is different. But that's those. I will finish them off. Like I say, if you're finding these aren't sticky enough, use a little bit of the melted chocolate and pop it on the top, just a little dot, and it'll help everything stick together. So I'm going to pop that back in the fridge and let's get our hearts out of the freezer. Actually, I'm just going to give my hands a quick rinse. Right. Back to our Geo hearts. So they've just had 5 minutes in the freezer. And they are like that. Don't worry about the edges and stuff. We can trim all that off later. So I can see that they've got a really nice, good covering here. But what we're going to need now is our strawberry jam and our cake. I've got spoons covered in all sorts of stuff. So with these, the easiest way to do it and get it packed in is just to take, not quite a handful, but take it and start squidging it together. And then just, now we don't want these utterly full. One, we won't get any jam in. And two, if you try and do it, when you put the chocolate in, it will sit on top rather than, and you won't get a flush back to it. So again, it's probably about the size of the pumpkins there. And I'm just going to make a little hole, finger hole there. Get a fresh teaspoon. Actually, I can probably use one of my little measuring spoons. Then we're not using a lot of strawberry jam at all, but that's got a big piece of strawberry and well done. That's the first hit. And just pop that in there. And then just lay some over the top. You can also, if you prefer, put the strawberry jam straight in there, straight onto the, actually let's do them like that today. Straight in. You could use all sorts of things in this. It doesn't have to be strawberry jam. You could use Biscoff. You could use Nutella. You could use peanut butter. But it just adds that extra that isn't the that isn't cake or chocolate. And it's Halloween, so it looks like a bit gory. So I'm just spreading that out as well across the base. So back then to our cake. Take another small amount. I'm going to start here at the back. And just push it down into place. So your filling should sit just below the top of the mould line, because obviously we're going to pour some chocolate over. It might not actually need to melt anymore. We'll see. In it goes. I managed to get, so the caramel milk, like the Caramac, old school Caramac, Marks and Spencer's have done a spread like a Biscoff spread, like a chocolate spread of that. A bit too much in that one. And there's a jar, and apparently it's now totally sold out, and I don't know if they'll be doing any more. So there's an unopened jar in the cupboard. I don't know if we'll ever get opened. Or it'll get opened just by me. So, Caramac has all these weird old school memories for me of ballet lessons and something I had like after I could treat after a dance lesson. I don't know why. It was either that or a toffee crisp. See, when I'm doing this, you get all sorts of rubbish coming out of my mouth. This is why you watch. This is why you watch. It's not for the cake, it's for the randomness. That's why you were watching, Alfred. Right. As you can see, I've just pushed and then squidged those in and pushed them on. Actually, the first one I did where I put it worked the other night, but the first one that I did where I put the jam in sort of to the middle is actually a little bit more raised than I would like. So I'm not going, that one probably won't work so well, but what I'm also just going to do quickly is take off some of the excess chocolate with my palette knife, just while it's a little bit soft, but without taking that shell away. So whilst I'm going to use the chocolate I've got here, I'm just going to melt that last lot as well. Just put that on. I think we might be able to use this chocolate, so there might be enough. So in my little bag then, I'm just going to snip off the end. And then just go around the edges there, fill it in. I'll come back and smooth it all over, so I'm not adding loads. Concentration. And so I've been practicing these this week, so and this is the one that was, yeah, that's got far too much filling in it. The only thing is it means I won't be able to smooth that one over so much. So I'm just going to move that back on itself. Then with a palette knife, just smooth off smooth over. These always look so easy, and they are really easy. It just depends if you're an utter perfectionist or not. When you level off anything with your angled spatula, try to keep it really flat and level, not digging in, because otherwise you won't get that coating. You see how I'm avoiding that lumpy one? I'm just going to use a little bit, put a little bit that I took off there, just to... You know, when you see them doing it on like Bake Off, the professionals, it looks so easy. I mean, it is-ish. The one with the lump, I'm just going to smooth over. Got chocolate everywhere. Right. That is melting, that's fine. So what I'm going to do now then is just pop these back into the freezer, and then we can take them out and decorate them afterwards. So I have a little tray in the top of my freezer for ice that is perfect size for those molds. Okay. Just gonna check on this chocolate here melting again. That's fine. So whilst they chill off, I guess we can just have a quick run through. I'll run back through the Christmas puddings, just what we've done as usual, and then we can get those out of the freezer and just pipe over the top and finish decorating. Now, in terms of cake style, I used 150 grams. I've still got a bit left, but that would normally, because I would be making 2 batches of those, and that's what I'll be doing with this afterwards. So you can just keep using. You can turn it into cake pops as well. You know, roll it into balls and then dip it in chocolate. So there is a little bit of that left over. There is an awful amount of washing up to do. Like I say, you can use vanilla, chocolate, whichever store-bought ones if you're using those, or if you're making your own. You can use whatever flavour you want. Throat's a bit tickly today. What was I going to say? I can't remember. That was it. If you're using your own buttercream, you don't want it to be too soft. You want it to be quite thick. So you might need to go easier on the butter, or if you find it's too thick, add a little bit more icing sugar to it. If it's too sort of thin or wet, it will make it really quite mushy inside, which actually is probably why the store-bought ones are quite good, because they're quite thick and heavy. I'm just going to turn off this chocolate that's melting and just tidy a few things away. And what we're going to do is we'll just talk through, there's cake crumbs everywhere, we'll just talk through our little fellow friends quickly to finish these off. Here they are. So these guys, no, that's our pumpkin cake. These guys were our Rice Krispie treats as a pumpkin. We made these really quickly with Rice Krispies, marshmallow, caramel, chocolate. You can use white chocolate, a little bit of orange food colouring, all melted together, mixed into the Rice Krispies, and then got really sticky and messy rolling these into a ball. A great one for the kids to do. Get your hands damp. It helps so much. Then roll them into a ball, pop them into the fridge, and as you can see, They're still quite nice and soft, but they are now ready sort of in a ball. You can use a little bit of, you could use pre-bought decorations if you want. You don't have to make them pumpkins, but I've used a little bit of green sugar paste and a little brown sugar paste and added a little stalk and some leaves there on the top for those, and they are Rice Krispie pumpkin treats. They are based on the Christmas pudding ones that we've got on the blog, which is an absolute hit every year. The only bit of this where kids need a little supervision, or you might want to do it for it, is when you're melting the marshmallows, the chocolate and the butter, depending on their age, obviously. You can do that in the microwave, but I find that the air, when it puffs up in the marshmallows, can just expand everything and you end up with a bit of a mess in your microwave. So doing it on the hob is pretty much the easiest way. I'm going to finish these guys off later, and then we'll take some pictures and things. But yeah, how cute are them? And obviously they're chocolate as well in there. And you don't have to use the orange food colouring in the chocolate. If you want to, you can use orange candy melts as well. So our last thing, whilst they're just chilling out, is our Geo hearts, and they've been made in the silicone mold. Now again, these are no bake unless you want to bake your own cake to do this, but actually if you're doing it with kids, it's just easy to get a store-bought cake and crumble it up. You can use, like, you know, the cake loaves that you can get, the Madeira ones, angel cake, all sorts. Be chocolate cake in there as well. If you're doing chocolate, I would avoid using anything with chocolate chips in, because they can be quite chunky in our little hearts. And you don't have to do hearts. You can get all sorts of molds out there, but we've got those Geo hearts that I've been trying out, ready for some Christmas festive fun. But these, so what we've done is we've made a white chocolate shell. We filled that with a little bit of strawberry jam and some vanilla cake with vanilla frosting, and now they're in the freezer just chilling out across the back. So what we're going to do then finally, before we get them out, I'm just going to get some grease-proof paper to put these on. This drives me insane when I get this out. It's always sort of squidges out like that. And I'm like, stay flat. And put the scissors on one end and other stuff on the other. There we go. Right. Now, the freezer does help everything sort of set really nicely. What I'm probably going to do is just get one out. We'll see what it's like, and I'll decorate that and then leave the rest in the freezer for a little bit longer. Sort of probably want about 15 minutes more than anything, and we don't have the time today. But these have started now to set on the back. So I am going to take one out and take this one here from the front, and then I'm going to pop the rest back in. But I'm just inverting it onto my greaseproof and very gently peeling that away. And then I'm going to put these back in. Actually, they can now go, they can go in the freezer again. So we have, I'm just going to lift him up onto the spatula. Let's just take off the beauty with these Geo hearts is everything's a straight line. So if you've got some, he is still a little bit soft. So yeah, and chocolate is still a little soft. So he probably they need a lot longer in. But this is our little heart. I won't bring him to the camera because my hands, I feel, will melt that chocolate still a bit too much because it is still a little damp. But I want to turn him into a mummy. So we're going to pipe some bandages on with the rest of the chocolate. I'm going to use some white sugar paste and some black sugar paste here to make him some little eyes. You can buy googly eyes as well. They're all over the shop in the stores now. I saw some yesterday, but you can also make your own. Just roll a couple of white balls of white sugar paste. They want to be about the same. So I used to do this with cupcakes as well, where you frost the cupcake and then like strips of white fondant over the top as his bandages, and then a couple of smaller black balls. I'm just going to push that into the top. You probably can't see these, but I've made these tiny little sugar paste eyeballs. So we're just going to pop. Let's get rid of that for the moment. And then with the remainder of our, I'm just going to now, let's just, there we go, get that started. Pipe over a few little things, and then keep going backwards and forwards. And I've just stuck my little eyes there on the top. So I won't lift it because it's got wet chocolate on. Let's see if I... Oh, black nails down a blackboard. It's white. This is the hardest bit. So it's, you can't see it. But what I've done is I've just gone backwards and forwards across the heart there with our leftover chocolate for some bandages. And then I've just stuck my two little hearts on there. So this is our Mummy Geo heart. No bake cake, jam filled thing. I don't know what you call them. It's not cake pop. It's not a cakesicle because it hasn't got a lollipop stick in it. And they just seem to be called these Geo hearts. But this guy here now needs to completely set. So he will go in the fridge. The others, like I say, are in the freezer. He was not quite done when I took them out. It was still quite soft on chocolate. But that's fine enough for us to show you what to do. Oh, I still have the thing up. So let's just get his friend out. So we've got our little mummy chocolate hearts and our little pumpkins then today, and an awful lot of mess, which I now need to clear up before my in-laws arrive. I need to make dinner for this afternoon. Oh dear, no rest. Anyway, we've been through the ingredients, I've been through the method. They are so super simple. Give them a go. They're really good fun if you're just having some half-term time with the kids or rainy day time with the kids, but they're really great and fun to do. But I'm going to leave you guys there, let you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Don't forget, you can find all the recipes and all the information over there on the website. The pumpkins are on there, but they're on as the Christmas puddings. I will be doing those as the pumpkins this week, and also our little hearts as well. There's a couple of other things come up, including that gingerbread rocky road. So keep an eye out for that next week. Because as I said, we're away for the next couple, well, we're not away for the next couple of weeks, but we won't be here on a Sunday morning for the next couple of weeks because of some family things. So we're gonna take a break and see you in November. It feels really strange saying that. And see you in November. We'll be back with some end of autumn ideas, but definitely heading in to the Christmas recipes already. Thank you very much, Gina. Lovely. I'm glad everybody has had a lovely time. Alfred, this is why you saw this, because you wanted to make Rice Krispie pumpkins. I nearly said Christmas puddings again today. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. Have a great Sunday. Take care wherever you are. Thanks. Bye-bye.